Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to move on this week with more multiple singer tracks, songs with multiple singers on them, and we're going to be checking out a band that we've checked out before, and I'm pretty sure it got banned, although I think I got by with blurring the video this time. I don't think I had to upload it to the Google Drive. Before we get into it, though, just want to remind everybody to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. All three of those actions help out the channel immensely. So let's get on with this. This is Maximum, the Hormone, and the name of the song, there we go, Hungry Pride. I was really hoping the English translation was put somewhere in there. Yes, this is Hungry Pride. And the last time we checked them out, just a wild, insane song. I remember all four members had a chance to sing in it, and they bounced between like hardcore and nu metal and pop, and it was just bonkers. So yeah, let's get into this one. Before we start though, I do want to advise that there's violent imagery in the music video. So if that's not something you want to see, put the video in the background, just listen to the audio or something like that. Alright, let's get into this. Playing his guitar with his chord. In there, we got some harmonies. It's taking me back to like 2000s. Super repetitive, but I'm also loving the tongue trill. Nice little change up there. Yeah, we're moving between halftime, double time, and standard constantly. Everybody killing it. Yeah, at halftime, loving that. It's really interesting how raw his vocals are. What? Yeah, the bongos and bass right there, so sick. really play with the width of sound as well a lot. And it's also really cool to hear the rock and punk and metal drums just like being woven together seamlessly. I love those little ornamentations. Just randomly throwing that triplet in there. Well, I guess it would be 2 8s in front of.
ミュージックビデオ冒頭、ホルモンのハングリープライドによりあっさり殺されてしまった人物とは。ハングリープライドという曲名に込められた意味とは。
やっぱハングリー精神をどう。
Alright, so that's the whole song. I'm gonna wager some behind the scenes stuff, maybe. Yeah, so, given what I know about Maximum the Hormone from the last song we checked out from them, this is entirely on point for them. This is what I expect. Everybody chiming in on the vocals, everybody killing it on their instruments, and then just tons of just very fluid genre exploration. And it's done with such high energy and conviction and just strength, just at all times. I can't imagine that one of their shows is not just the most hype thing to attend. It's just they have so much character and energy in their playing that I would love to see these guys live. That would be phenomenal. But yeah, so for the song in particular, the guitarist and the bassist ended up pulling quite a bit. The guitarist ended up pulling quite a bit, I would say, of vocal time. The bassist backed that up a bit, and then the lead vocalist with the screams and growls also did some backup, and which is really interesting. I know this is a very eclectic band, and they sort of just, kick all expectations and standard music creation to the curb, but it's just really interesting to me to see the lead vocalist take so much time out of singing for a song. Now, I don't know how that works on the album. I don't know how often the lead singer is not singing. I noticed that the lead singer only did harsh vocals. So I don't know how often the band utilizes harsh vocals. But, if all their songs are like this, the lead singer is not so much the lead, which is an interesting dynamic. Usually, the band front person would be your lead singer. That tends to be how bands are kind of led. And this one seems to be the opposite. The guitarist seems to be the front person of the band. They seem to be the main musician, main person. Like I kind of associate with the band. First on the scene in the video, last on the scene in the video, most amount of video time and most amount of vocals. I mean, that's... But that's just a really interesting dynamic, assuming that this is a standard for the rest of the album, because that means your lead singer just kind of stands around, getting the crowd pumped up or, doing whatever, but not actively participating in the creation of the music. He doesn't seem to play... I think he played the bongos. I think he did play the bongos. But still, that was a very small part of the song. Most of the song, he just seemed to be standing around. So it's really interesting that he, I guess he feels comfortable with that role. Because usually that, it doesn't happen. If you have a vocalist who doesn't sing all the time, it's usually because you have another vocalist, something like, Linkin Park, or some of the earlier Crown the Empire stuff, where they had two vocalists and one vocalist would just back off while the other one goes forth. But in here, the guitarist is the lead vocalist. So even when the guitarist isn't singing, they're still contributing to the music. They're playing the guitar. So yeah, I don't want to talk too much more about that. It's just something I find interesting. I'm kind of enthralled by it because I don't think I've seen anything like that before. But admittedly, like I said, I don't know about the rest of the album dynamics, the rest of their songs, how often this happens. Maybe this is just a one-off, and maybe the guitarist usually does take up backing vocals rather than lead. I don't know. But yeah, that's really interesting. They have some gang vocal parts where they yell single words to emphasize the downbeat of a new bar, which I really enjoyed, or a downbeat on the repetition of the phrase, actually, not a new bar, which I really enjoyed that aspect. I do remember that the drummer sang in the last one, and she did more of the pop elements, and I really like that juxtaposition between the heaviness of the metal with the pop elements, and like I mentioned earlier, I don't know how that dynamic works across their album. This might just be one of the heavier songs on an album, but I do miss that element. But I also appreciate that songs can have varying ideas and varying contrasting composition styles. So like I said, this could just be one of the heavier tracks on the album. However, even while being heavy, they still find lots of ways to sort of go between different rock and metal ideas, even going into some lighter stuff like pop rock that we saw crop up 2 times. It was short, maybe only like 8 bars or so. It didn't stick around for very long, but yeah, they had a little pop rock element. They had some punk, they had some metal, they had some straight rock. It's really cool how, and it's not even just that they mixed them all, because I mean, on the surface, they're all pretty similar, right? It's usually some of the smaller elements, what kind of tools get utilized, and how often, that really differentiate them. But on the surface, it's guitar, bass, drum, and singing, maybe with some heaviness or aggressiveness to all of those sounds, and that's kind of rock or metal. So they're bound to go together very well just because they are so similar on the surface level. But what I find really interesting is how quickly they move between them. They might be in the metal mode for just 4 bars and then hit punk for 2 and then bring it back down to like a hardcore breakdown for 4 bars and then move into some straight rock for a few bars. And it's just, you never really know where they're going. And it's such a fast transversal between all these different elements and just really sliding between these different genre styles. And I really think a lot of it needs to be attributed to the drummer, who is phenomenal, just displaying a ton of chops here to begin with, but also really leading the band with the feels. When she pulls in, the alternating but differently rhythmic bass and snare, your boom ga boom boom ga, and you get like some of those more punkier pop rock kind of beats, it really changes up a lot of the song. And then she pulls in some blast beats and it changes it up. And then she goes into, straight eighth double bass kicks, and that changes up. And a lot of it is the drum patterns that she's using that really changes a lot of how each of the sections feels. And I feel like she's carrying so much weight on that aspect that I really enjoy, which is this genre fluidity and how quickly they move between them. And it's just wild to me how she can keep all of these styles just like ready to go. They're all right there for the taking. Whenever she needs them, she just drops it down, and it just flows so smoothly. It's not jarring to move between these ideas, and I love that. That's not to discredit anybody else, though. The guitar work is phenomenal. The bassist is just sick. He doesn't get a lot of time to shine, but that one section where he was just tearing it up with the slapping and popping, like, yeah, I'm impressed. um, and then, yeah, this is multiple singers week, and I think I've talked enough about that, but I do really enjoy all their vocal styles. We have aggressive cleans. We have kind of, I do want to talk about the guitar's vocal style, though. I mentioned that it was a little raw, and I just think that's really awesome that it's in stark contrast to a lot of what we would consider good rock or metal vocal direction. He kind of allows his voice to crack, and there's these moments where it just kind of slips into like a higher pitch before coming back. Well, like a vocal crack. And he just kind of rolls with it, and it's almost like an uncontrolled vocal style. It's not really honed anywhere. It's just a wild tone, and he just kind of lets it does its own thing. Wherever it goes is where he goes. He kind of has pitches that he might aim for, but it's not a note he's specifically trying to hit. He just needs to hit somewhere around it to get the general feel of the melodic line. And it's really interesting how it, like I said, it's not very exact. So there's bound to be some dissonance coming off of it, but at the same time, it just feels so natural. It doesn't really take me out of the moment that he's not hitting these exact notes, that they're not lining up perfectly with what the guitar or bass is playing. And a lot of that may be the distortion and the overdrive, and maybe there's some simplicity in the chords that allows for some of these coloring outside of the line moments in the vocal melody to not grind as harshly against what's going on in the floor. But I don't think any of that makes it less impressive, that the song still sounds harmonious despite the fact that he has this wild tone to his vocal delivery. So, yeah, this is the second song from Maximum the Hormone. Oh, look, this is the other one. I don't even know what this one's called, but we've listened to it. That's the one. And, the title's in Japanese characters, so I can't read that. But yeah, I recognize the thumbnail. Yeah, so that was 2 years ago, and this was about 1 year ago, almost to the day. This was March 5th, 2020. So, yeah, I've only listened to their newer stuff, but I'm really interested in checking out some older stuff. This is where you guys come in. Don't hit me up with some direction to these guys. Where should I be looking at? What song should I be checking out next? I'm really enjoying what they're laying down. They have this chaotic energy, and they just seem really fun. They don't really take themselves too seriously, I don't think. Not with the way, I don't know most of the lyrics, but with the way they present themselves in the music video and just the way that they deliver some of their lines and stuff. They seem to be having a lot of fun with their music. And they chuck a lot of convention out the window and do what they want. And I gotta admire that too. So yeah, where should I be going next with Maximum the Hormone now that I've checked out 2 of their newer songs? And you can also post in the comments if you enjoyed this or not. Anything that you might have enjoyed that I didn't touch on, maybe something that you didn't agree with me with, go ahead and drop some comments. Above that is a description box. We have some links up there for stuff adjacent to the channel. Maybe you want to check out the Discord and chat with me and the rest of the community. I tend to drop by several times a day and see what's going on. There's tons of good music recommendations in there as well. Maybe you want to help support the channel via Patreon. If you do, I greatly appreciate it. And another way to support the channel, like, subscribe, ring the bell, share the link, all that goodness. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC. As usual, we'll be looking at the penultimate Multiple Singers Week song. This is going to be one of the lower voted ones before we move into Friday with my personal selection from the poll, which I'm excited for. I meant to check it out earlier, and I'm kind of glad I didn't because we get to do the reaction now. But it was presented to me. I put it in a folder to listen to later, and I never got around to it, so I'm really glad I get to do that now, because I think it's something, from what I understand, it's gonna just line up with my personal taste in music very well. So yeah, until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.